Today's the 30th of September, so you know what that means. Tomorrow we're starting Inktober, and this will be my third year of taking part in Inktober. And the previous 2 years I've used this little book which I made myself, and the pages are actually made with the brown paper that comes with the Amazon packages, and I just used fine liners. So the first year was literally just fine liners, and then the second year I added in using a white pen as well as the fine liners. I'll link to my Inktober playlist if you want to have a look at those previous 2 years in more detail. This year I decided I wanted to do something different, both in terms of the pens I was using, but also the whole format of how I was going to do the sketches. So recently I've been experimenting with drawing using a fountain pen, and I bought myself this little Hongdian. I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce it. I love it. I mean, look how small it is. It's great for just sticking in your pocket, and then when you sort of take the pen out, put the lid on, it becomes like a normal sort of size pen because the lid is so big in comparison to the size of the pen. I'm not experienced with using lots of different fountain pens, so I can't tell you hand on heart 100% this is the best fountain pen you'll ever draw with, but I can tell you I love it. And in this pen I'm currently using just a standard Parker Quink ink. It's got like the refillable where you just kind of stick it in the ink and then just twiddle it up to suck up the ink. It's getting very low, so I'll make sure I fill that up before I start on my Inktober drawings. And because the ink is water soluble, I've been using the pen alongside a water brush to just move the ink around and just get some more subtle shading. Let me just show you an example. So this is my little tiny sketchbook I made for my emergency sketching, and these are just a couple that I did recently in my lunch breaks, just using that pen and the water brush. So this is the kind of thing that I'm hoping to do for my sketches during Inktober this year. And for the paper I'm using this, it's a 140 gram multimedia paper from C. White of Brighton, and it's actually made from recycled cups. So basically what I did was I've just taken some of these A3 sheets and cut them down into smaller sizes. So I cut the pages into quarters for A5 size, and then just fold those to A6, so it's kind of like postcard size. As you can see, I've not bound them into a book yet. It's just still loose paper at this point, and the reason for that is because I don't know yet how many pages I'm going to need for October. And I know that sounds silly because it's 31 days, so surely I need 31 pages. But that brings me on to the different format that I'm planning to do this year. Actually, before I tell you about that, let me show you a couple of drawing challenges I've already done this year. So you might recognise this book. It's another one that I made myself, and I actually did a tutorial making this book, so I'll link that if you're interested in having a go at making your own sketchbooks. But in April this year I did a challenge from Sketchbook School, which was all flowers, and I knew that April was going to be a busy month, so instead of doing a flower per page or half a page or whatever, I decided that I would do the whole month on one double page spread. And as the month went on and I was filling in the different flowers, it was like a stained glass window. I've not done a video on this, but I did share the individual pictures on my Instagram page So if you wanted to have a look in closer detail at those pictures. And then September, the current month just ending, I did another challenge, and this time it was from Doodle Wash. And again, I knew it was going to be a busy month, so I didn't want to do a whole painting per page, but I wanted to give myself a little bit more room than I'd done with the flowers. So I split it across 2 spreads. See, I've not painted today's yet. But again, I've shared these on my Instagram. So because twice this year, I've made things easy on myself by going small. And as it turned out, I think that was the wise decision for those months because I was particularly busy. But at the moment, October is looking a little bit quieter. So I wanted to give myself a bigger challenge. So before I saw the prompt list with the words for each day, I'd already decided this year I'm not going to just do sketches, I'm going to write a story, and the sketches will be illustrations to go alongside that story. Because I had no idea where that would go because I hadn't seen the prompts yet. And then when I did see the prompt list, I was kind of half delighted and half disappointed, because this year what they've done with the prompt words is they're sort of on a theme. So there seems to be a general kind of travel, exploration, adventure kind of theme, which lends itself really nicely to writing a story and having those words to sort of illustrate. So from that perspective, that's great, because that's going to hopefully make things a little bit easier for me. But also, that's a downside in a way, because I think there are going to be lots of other people who have a similar idea. So I just wanted to let you know that I had the idea of writing the story before I saw the prompt words. And that is also why I don't know how many pages I'm going to need. I had the initial idea of doing like a chapter for each word. Obviously not a full-on like novel length kind of chapter, but you know, a little bit lengthier kind of story in between. But I think that might be a little bit too ambitious. Some of the words would kind of follow on quite closely, I think, in a story. So I'm not kind of setting myself any definite guidelines about how much I'm writing in between. Just that those prompt words will be, you know, a point in the story for me to illustrate. So I think that's about as much as I can tell you now about my plan for Inktober. You know what pen I'm using, you know what paper I'm using, you know I'm intending to write a story. We'll see how that goes. I don't think I've written a story since I was at school, so who knows where that's gonna go. And in terms of the sketchbook itself, you'll have to come back at the end once I know exactly how many pages I've got, and then I can bind it up. I've also got an idea of how I can use the ink theme for the cover as well, but we'll see how that goes at the end of the month. So as I did in the previous years, I'm planning to do sort of like a few interim videos to show my progress, and then obviously at the end you'll get to see the finished product. So I hope you'll come back and see what I'm up to, and we'll find out together, because I don't quite know how it's going to go yet either. See you later.